What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So, I'm actually really excited to talk about this one. Initial Audio is a music software company that makes incredible VSTs and plugins. I actually think at this exact moment, I own just about every plugin and VST they have. I might be missing one or two, but I really love what it is they do. They're great at creating comprehensive, user-friendly VSTs and plugins with incredible sound selection and sound design and UIs that are just really clean and really dope looking. I love all of that. So Initial Audio is up there with my favorite software companies. And they just recently released their newest VST called Initial Slice. Now, this is something that it's a little odd that they came out with this when they did, because I was actually thinking about a VST just like this, you know, a sampler that I could kind of house all of my sample packs and drum packs and all of these different sounds and samples that I have in random folders spread out all over my hard drive. I can kind of house them in this one location and almost kind of make my own VST. Like, I can just select the folder and have it right at my fingertips. A sampler that is very easy to use and allows you to save your sample folders as presets. So you can just load up the VST and go through all of your files right there within the DAW and create right on the spot without having to drag and drop. It's something I was really looking for, and it's just insane to me that Initial Audio came out with this thing when they did. And I can't wait to share this thing with you guys. So let's get right into it. Initial Audio, Initial Slice. Let's jump right into this thing. So I have Logic queued up, and let's jump right into this thing. As you can see on the screen here, I have Initial Slice ready to go. Now, this is the UI for Initial Slice, and I always love Initial Audio's UIs. They're always very clean. They give you a lot of functionality within the VST, but the way they design the UIs, it doesn't feel too complicated. And even though there's a lot of, you know, knobs and faders and different things going on within the UI, the way they space things out and design it, it just feels very user friendly, and it makes you want to use it. I mean, there's certain UIs that, you know, can kind of turn you off and just overwhelm you. This isn't one of them. And as far as samplers go, it's really straightforward. You can resize the UI. You just go up to settings over here in that top right corner. Just go to GUI size, 80%, 100%, 150, and you can kind of just do whatever you want to do with it. We're going to bring the GUI size back down to, let's do 100%. That's a good size, just like that. Boom. So right there in the middle. We're going to go over some of the things that you're looking at on the UI right here. If you look up here at the top, you'll notice you have your slice mode, your stretch mode, crop, sync BPM, which is a really dope thing to include in the VST. Whatever BPM you're creating your tracks at, this thing can sync up with you. They already have presets loaded up in this sampler with a lot of different, you know, samples that you can kind of chop up and do your own thing with. Whichever one you play, it will sync up with whatever your BPM is, and that's really dope. Now, essentially what this thing is it's a loop slicer, a sampler, and a sequencer all in one VST. So let's just pick a random preset. They have random loops already inserted in the VST as presets. You have your loop slicer. So you have your loop slicer right here. You have your slice sequencer. So you can just program it within the VST. You can program how you want to play the different loop slices. You have a drum sequencer, because this thing comes loaded with drums already, but you can add drums to it if you want to because it's a sampler. But you have your drum sequencer here, and you can kind of just plug drums in the way you want to. And you also have a bass sequencer, and you can program the bass the way you want to. We're going to go back to the main editor page and just talk about some of the things that's going on. On the main editor, You can change the pitch, fade in, fade out. You can put the sample in reverse. You can stretch the sample. Take it off reverse for a second. You can speed it up or slow it down. You have your gate here, so you can kind of cut off the sample where you want to cut it off at. So in this whole box right here, this affects the whole entire sample. And if you go over here to slice, you can change these settings to affect the individual slices within the sample. And that's really cool because if you have the sample sliced up, so like you could take this, say I wanted to play this. Those two keys that I'm hitting are basically the same notes. But I could go over to this second slice over here, G4, and I can just click on it, and the sample changes right there, and I can change the pitch of that note. So now I have two different notes. So the original note is still the same, and then I change this one. And that's how you can get a little bit of melody out of these different sample slices. So it's really cool that you can affect the individual slices within this thing. That's really cool. Over here, you have your amp section, attack, release, and gain. And down here, you have an entire rack of effects that you can plug into your sample. If you look over here on the left side, you have your library section and you have your presets. Now, using the sampler itself is as easy as drag and drop. So even though this thing comes loaded with a lot of different samples, and we can go through them really quickly. The samples that this thing already comes loaded with are really dope. Like I've made a bunch of beats with this thing already. You can chop these samples up, you can put them in reverse and do all kinds of really cool things with it. But it's almost like this VST came with its own sample pack, and the samples within the sample pack are freaking fire. If you didn't want to use any of the presets that this thing came with, that's fine. If you wanted to just use something out of a sample pack that you created or a sample pack you purchased somewhere else, you could just go into your files. Matter of fact, let's go to my new sample pack. I have a new sample pack out, Lotus Keys. Take one of the samples from there. Let me see which one. Let's use that one. And you just grab it, drag it, and drop it. And your sample is just loaded up onto the sampler. That simple, very easy to use, very straightforward. This thing is synced up with my project's BPM. So my project's BPM is 120, and this sampler automatically adjusts and time stretches the sample to go to whatever your project's BPM is. Really cool stuff. If you wanted to, you could drag an entire folder right on to the library section of the sampler, and you can create your own new bank. You can put a name, so we'll put Arsiney as the name. And for the bank name, we'll put Ars Fire and create bank, Ars Fire. Now, like I said, you could create your own presets, you could create your own folders, you can save those folders, you can save those samples, so everything you need is all in one place, and you don't have to go running all over the place on your hard drive looking for samples. It could all be used within this VST, which is incredible. But the VST itself comes with its own samples. So you can click samples right here. You can go through 808s, claps, hi-hats, kicks, snares, percussion. So literally, between all of the samples that are already loaded up in this thing. And as you can see, I'm just scrolling away. It comes with a ton of samples. Between all of the samples that's already loaded up in this thing and the sample drums and hi-hats and snares, you could create a whole beat just on this thing alone. If you go over here to some of the samples that it comes loaded up with, you'll notice, say I click this sample. The really cool thing about this thing is they actually have the entire project loaded up inside of the sequencer section of this VST. So if I don't just want the melodic sample, if I want the whole beat, I want the drums and the bass, I can just move right over here to where it says beat, click on that, and then when I press play, I have the whole sample. So maybe you don't want to just use, maybe you don't want the melody of the sample. Maybe you just want the drums. You can mute the melody and just play the drums from the drum sequencer and the bass sequencer. Maybe you don't even want the bass. Maybe you want to mute the bass. You can put mute and just play the kick and the snare and the hi-hats. And as you can see, the drum sequencer going to work. You can make adjustments to that, add an extra snare. And you can just really add on to what's already there or create a whole new thing. It's up to you. But I just love how much functionality is in the sampler. It gives you a lot of options and a lot of opportunity to expand on creativity. If you look at all of these individual tracks, each of these tracks come with its own gain, pan, pitch, and reverb knobs that are built in to the sampler itself. You have a mute knob and you have a sidechain knob. You could actually sidechain the 808 if you wanted to. You go over here to bass sequencer, turn your sidechain on, and whichever drum on the drum sequencer is highlighted with the sidechain button, it will automatically sidechain the bass. It does a lot of the hard work for you, and it makes things as simple as a click. Now, one of the things I did want to mention about Initial Slice is something that may not be obvious right off of the back, is how to export all of the different things that you're doing in your slice sequencer, your drum sequencer, and your bass sequencer. Any of the patterns that you're creating in this thing, or any of the patterns that are already created for you within the sequencers, how to bounce those out as MIDI onto your actual DAW and, use it in unison with the rest of your project. Right down here, you'll see you have slice 1, slice 3, drum 1, drum 2, drum 4, bass 2, bass 4. You have all of the different keys that you can hit to trigger the different sequencers. So we'll just go to one of the presets really quickly. And we'll turn the beat on. So we'll click beat so that everything is playing. So that's what that sample sounds like. Let's just say, for instance, you just wanted the drum pattern. What you would then do is go down to the lowest point on your MIDI keyboard, and you can just trigger it by hitting that key. So right now I'm hitting the drum 2 key. Now my MIDI keyboard can't go any lower than this, but that's okay. You can just open up the sequencer within your DAW, and then you can go down to the lowest point on your keyboard. And you can just trigger the drums that way. You can just throw the MIDI in there. And you have it triggered at the exact tempo that you want it to be. And like I said before, if you change the tempo, it'll also change the tempo of the sample. It's just a lot of really cool things you can do with this sampler. I'm gonna be honest with you. The main reason I've been using this thing is because of its drag and drop capability. It makes all of my folders and folders and folders of sampled sounds, sampled drums that I have to constantly drag and drop onto Logic. It makes it a lot easier to be able to drag and drop it into this one VST and not have to ever do it again. I can just kind of find it when I need it and save things as my own presets. Let's not even go crazy on all of the little intricacies within the VST. I know you guys just want to hear something. So let's get right into the cookup. Now, the goal is I'm going to attempt to make the basic structure of a beat using nothing but this plugin, because I think this plugin is capable of doing that. Wow. Yeah, the motorcycles in my neighborhood is kind of crazy. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, let's go through some of the presets just so you can hear what's going on in here. And as you can see, I'm just tapping the keys. I'm kind of playing the sample how I want. And that note right there, if I wanted that note to be a little bit different, I would just click on it and I can change the pitch right there. So it'll be so that's really cool. We can go through a couple more of these samples. Really dope stuff. All right, let's just use this. Let's use this one right here. Let's see what we can do. Alright, we got that. So I chopped that up a little bit. Maybe change the pitch. Like that. So let's make another track. I like that. I can just drag the kick right over here. Do that again. Alright, 16 there, and for the double tap there, we'll do. That's simple. Like, all I'm doing is loading up an initial slice right now. Let's go to samplers. Let's go to snare. Just make sure things aren't distorted. Metering, level. Boom. We'll copy and paste that. I'll make this the main body of the track right there. I'll move the sample to the intro. Yeah. Alright. Okay, system overload. So we'll do some 808s. Let's get some bass going. Not in key, but it just feels a little bit anti. Right. We're gonna add some hi-hats to that. Let's get it. I think I know what I want to do now, so I'm gonna just record it over here. Got that. Boom. Let's add a bass line. Let's go to initial audio. Let's use Heat Up 3. Heat Up 3 is another dope VST by Initial Audio. I use this thing all the time. I think I'm gonna go to what we gonna do? We're gonna just go maybe to the north. Nah. We're gonna use all presets and go to bass. Kind of crazy. Quantize that and copy it. Copy and paste this. Another instrument on heat up 3. Let's do that. All right, here we go. Alright, we got that in order. Copy and paste that. What I want to do is add some choir sounds in there to just give it more atmosphere. Virtual realm. See what we have as far as pads go. We have soundscapes. Perfect. Give it more reverb. That's wrong. We'll do that, and then we'll do this. Ooh, let me pitch bend. Perfect. Nope, I don't like the pitch bend, so never mind. So never mind. That's perfect. Perfect. Let's look for maybe some brass, some cool brass. Oh, awesome. There we go. Perfect. Add that trumpet. just kind of fade the volume out on that. Let me turn the spaced up echo up even more. See how crazy it sounds. Dimension, intensity. Alright, so basically this is the beat I put together using Initial Slice and a few other little things sprinkled in here or there. So let's see what this thing sounds like. Let's get into it. Yo, so that's it. That was Initial Slice. That was the beat I made with Initial Slice. Listen, this is one of the dopest VSTs I bought in a long time. Just not because of the presets. And I want to make that clear. The presets are fire. Initial Audio always has dope presets with their VSTs. The presets are fire. But for me, it's what this thing allows you to do. For all my producers out there that has hard drives full of sample packs that they purchase, drum packs that they purchase, drum loops that they've purchased, and they're looking for a really good sampler to kind of house all of that so they don't have to keep constantly going back and forth from folder to folder to folder, and they can kind of just have everything in one spot and build amazing tracks off of that one VST. This is exactly what you're looking for. I think Initial Audio did something really, really special with Initial Slice. And at $99, it's currently at $99. That's the sales price. I don't know if that's going to change. But at $99, you really can't go wrong with this thing. So yeah, that's my review of Initial Slice. I hope you guys liked it. As always, please hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you can be notified anytime I drop a new video. Shout out to Initial Audio for making a dope VST, and I'm really digging this thing. I'm going to be getting a lot of work done with this. So yeah, that's it, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.